Hey, what's going on, good people? Armand Owens here once again with another episode of the Daily Unsung Leader. And we're continuing on with our leadership hacks that we were talking about, and we're going into day 15 today, talking about this leadership hack. And it's a little layered, but today's leadership hack is self-care. And I'm sure that you've heard a lot in the last few years in the area of self-care. It is a huge industry, and I don't want you to get me wrong. I think that yoga, meditation, eating well, being healthy, all these things are extremely, extremely beneficial. Please do not mistake me, but I want to take a different perspective on the area of self-care, especially as it pertains to leadership. And this may speak to a certain demographic of people more or less, than others. So, just hear me out here. When I'm talking about self-care, I am specifically talking about the idea of being comfortable in your own skin amongst entities that would seek to put you in another box that also may be uncomfortable, completely uncomfortable with the truthfulness of your existence. Entities and leadership entities that may be appointed over you that may be uncomfortable with how you do things, may be uncomfortable with how you speak, how you look, how you act, the perspective that you may take, so much so that you feel as though you need to conjure up an image, conjure up a hologram, conjure up a representative to go before you, where you hide the authentic version of yourself in an effort to make everybody else feel good. So before I started to go into the senior listed route, I was a young chief trying to figure things out for myself, and I was going to go the LDO route, and I thought a little bit differently about going to the Cobb route, because I feel as though that was kind of the culmination of the submarine experience, right? Being able to take it from a young seaman learning the submarine all the way up until a master chief, where you're leading, guiding, and ensuring that the lives of the 150, 160 personnel on board that submarine are safe and are well taken care of. Now I saw that as a culmination. But through this, I got a lot of advice about how I should carry myself. I got told Armand, hey man, you don't really have a lot of tact. You're going to really need to dial that down. Hey Armand, one thing I noticed, when you kind of come to work, you got your hat on, people can see your do-rag on, and that may rub people kind of the wrong way. And as I started to listen more and more, to people that would advise me on how to do this thing, what I saw was people giving me a blueprint for themselves and how I should be more like them, and how that really spoke to me was that, who you are is really inadequate to do my job, so you need to become more like me. Who you are is incapable of really filling this role, so here are the things that you need to kind of put to the rear, because people may not receive, people may not be comfortable with that. Hey, I know you got your own ideas and your perspectives, but hey, we've been doing this for 100 years, man, and this is how you need to be doing business. All the other ideas and all the things you bring to the table, that's not really gonna, be that effective. So what I heard in that moment was, hey, man, you're gonna have to conjure up a representative to go before you. And if you don't know who the representative is, just think about who you are in a relationship with the male or female, whoever, whoever's listening to this, and who you bring to the table. You bring your best self to the table. They don't know that you leave your socks, on the bathroom floor. They don't know that you snore extremely loudly. They don't know that you got to go to sleep with, all the lights on in the house, right? They don't know your dirt. They're getting the representative of you. They're getting the best version, of you. And we can play this role for months on end. And that's kind of a similar thing here, but instead of being a few months, we're talking about years, and we're gonna need you to play this role for the rest of your career. And I didn't recognize immediately, how dangerous that is, not just emotionally, but spiritually as well. Because the very idea of not being able to be yourself, the very idea of not being able to be your true authentic self, that you have to disconnect from who you are and play a role and formulate a character for somebody else to interact with so they can feel comfortable. Not so that you can be more effective, but so they can feel comfortable. That is debilitating to your self-care. I got great friends that are extremely weird by normal conformist ideas. Extremely weird. And they have chosen not to go, this route, the command route, or go to the next level because, well, people may not be comfortable with them. They may love Star Wars too much. They may love magic too much. They may love, Jordans too much. I don't know. But they've chosen not to bring their uniqueness, their superpower, into this realm of leadership because they don't line up with the status quo. When the very thing that gives us our strength, the very thing that makes us most powerful is our uniqueness. Who you are uniquely, individually, is the thing that makes you most powerful. There is a perspective that you are going to be able to garner from situations combined with your experience that nobody else is going to be able to understand or garner. But you're going to be able to speak to people that also believe that they got to put up a representative, which is everybody, because everybody thinks that they have to fit this mold of disingenuous personality. You got to be different, from who they actually are, in an effort to appease everybody else that has fit into this mold. Hey, you should do it this way. And I know I sound like I'm, kind of, going off of the leadership hack, lane, with this video. But here's the deal, man. Like, being able to be comfortable with, listen, win, lose, or draw, I knew for myself that I am 100% comfortable with getting fired for being authentically me, for doing it how I know how to do it, for doing this job how I know how to do it, to do this job serving, the people that I have the privilege of leading in the best capacity that I know how to do it, the way that honors Armand Owens and not Armand Owens as representative. Because I wasn't going to get fired trying to do the job somebody else's way. Then I'd be like, this wasn't even how I would do it anyway. So I knew, I was like, hey, win, lose, or draw, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to serve. I'm going to honor the people that I have the privilege of serving. I'm going to honor them without judgment. And I'm going to truly treat them how I would love to be treated. And the Submarine Force is extremely difficult because there's not a lot of people that look like me doing this job. It's not. That's okay. Because I exist in an effort to show people who do look like me, who do think like me, who are different, that they can do this job. I exist for the sole purpose of showing somebody that may think different, be weird, be cast out, that yep, your uniqueness is of value. Your uniqueness is powerful. And we need it in leadership. We need it. We need your perspective. We need your uniqueness. We need your weirdness. We need all of those things. We need who you are. Not who somebody is trying to form you into being. Now, turned 41 this year, and it took a long time for me to be comfortable in my own unique weirdness. Because when you're told day in and day out that who you are really doesn't fit in here, whether subconsciously or or verbally or right in your face, it doesn't matter. It can shake you a little bit. But I can tell you that when it kind of clicked for me that who I am uniquely is going to speak dynamically to everybody else that's also trying so hard to just be themselves, that it creates a safe place for people to truly be themselves. Because when you are yourself, when you don't give a crap about what somebody else thinks about you, what somebody else is trying to project you to be that is completely different from who you are, you give a freedom, you give a safe landing place to people everywhere. And most importantly, the people that you have the privilege of leading to also be themselves. Because you'll be amazed how well people perform when they're safe. When they feel like they don't have to diminish their light. They don't have to diminish any parts of them to come and do a job, to come to an organization. You'll be amazed at the level of creativity and brilliance that is brought to the table when people are safe. The level of performance that far exceeds what has been done previously, just because they're safe, just because they're not being diminished, because they're quote unquote weird. If there's a leadership hack, for real, this is at the top of it. Find your voice through the midst of all the noise. Get rid of that projection of yourself and bring who you are to the table. Insecurities, freaking flaws, and all. Because the truth is, even as leaders, and I've told this to all my chiefs that have come through the season, we're just a bunch of flawed people leading flawed people. We're all just flawed people leading more flawed people. Make people feel safe to be who they are. That's self-care. And that's self-care for you. You know, if I was listening to, if I listened to everybody else that, you know, told me before I came to do this job, you know, came to do the senior enlisted job, I would be, you know, listening to country music, driving a big truck, you know, dipping, you know, smoking cigars, even though I do that on the golf course every now and then, but whatever, you know, but, you know, I say those things, you know, with a bit of hyperbole, but the truth of the matter is that, you know, people look at you and see your uniqueness as a detractor when your uniqueness is actually your superpower. Get to a place where, regardless of what everybody else says, you're going to be authentic to who you are. Because if you do that, you give the freedom to everybody else to be who they are as well. That's all I got for today. I'd love to hear your feedback. I know it's a little bit longer than I normally go, but let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, talk to me on Some Leader Out.